أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Surah 28 Alqasas Introduction. This surah has 88 verses and stands at serial number 28 in the compilation of Holy Quran. How its name was taken. Surah takes its name from verse 25 in which the word Al-Qasas occurs. Lexically, "qasas" means to relate events in their proper sequence. Thus, from the viewpoint of the meaning too, this word can be a suitable title for this surah, for in it the detailed story of the Prophet Musa salam has been related. Period of revelation of the surah. As already mentioned in the introduction to Surah An-Naml, according to Ibn Abbas and Jubair bin Zayd, Surah Ash-Shu'ara, An-Naml and Al-Qasas were sent down one after the other. The language, the style and the theme also show that the period of the revelation of these three surah is nearly the same. Another reason for their loose resemblance is that the different parts of the Prophet Moses story as mentioned in these surahs together make up a complete story. In Surah Ashura, excusing himself for not accepting the office of prophethood, the Prophet Moses submits, "The people of Pharaoh have the charge of a crime against me. Therefore, I fear that they will put me to death." Then, when lie goes before Pharaoh, the latter says, "Did we not bring you up as a child in our house? You lived quite a few years of your life among us, and then you did what you did." Nothing more of this has been mentioned there, but in this surah the other details have been supplied. Similarly, in Surah An-Naml, the story starts abruptly from the time when the Prophet Musa was journeying with his family and suddenly saw a fire at a distance. In that surah, nothing has been said about the nature of his journey, or the place he was coming from, or his destination, but this surah supplies all the necessary details. Thus, the three surahs read together complete the story of the Prophet Musa. Theme and topics. The main theme is to remove the doubts and objections that were being raised against the prophethood of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and to invalidate the excuses which were being offered for not believing in him. For this purpose, first the story of Prophet Moses has been related, which, by analogy with the period of revelation, impresses the following points in the listener's mind automatically. First, Allah provides the means and motives of whatever He wills to do in imperceptible way. Thus, Allah so arranged things that the child through whom Pharaoh had to be removed from power was bred and brought up in his own house, and he could not know whom he was fostering. Who can then fight Allah and frustrate him by his machinations? Secondly, prophethood is not granted to a person amid festivities by issuing a proclamation from the earth and heavens. You wonder how Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has been blessed with prophethood unexpectedly, all of a sudden. But Moses salam, whom you yourself acknowledge as a prophet, verse 48 refers, had also become a prophet unexpectedly while on a journey, and nobody had known what event had occurred in the desolation at the foot of Mount Sinai. Even Moses himself did not know a moment before what he was going to be blessed with. He, in fact, had gone to bring a piece of the fire, but had returned with the gift of prophethood. Thirdly, the person from whom Allah wants to take some service comes out without any army and armor and without an apparent helper or force at his back, yet he puts to rout much stronger and better equipped opponents. The contrast that existed between the strength of Moses salam and Pharaoh's was much more prominent and glaring than that which existed between Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Quraysh. Yet the world knows who had come out victorious in the end and who had been routed. Fourthly, you refer to Moses again and again and say, why has Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam not been given the same which was given to Moses alayhi salam? That is, miracles of the staff, the shining hand, etc. As if to suggest that you would readily believe only if you were shown the kind of the miracles that were shown by Moses alayhi salam to Pharaoh. But do you know what sort of response was made by those who were shown those miracles? They had not believed, even after seeing the miracles, and had only said, "This is a magic," for they were involved in stubbornness and hostility to the truth. The same malady afflicts you today. Will you believe only when you are shown the same kind of miracles? Then, do you know what fate the disbelievers had met even after seeing the miracles? They were annihilated by Allah. Do you now wish to meet the same doom by asking for the miracles in your obstinacy? These were the things which were automatically impressed in the mind of every listener who heard this story in the pagan environment of Makkah, for a similar conflict was going on at that time between the Holy Prophet ﷺ and disbelievers of Makkah, as had already taken place between the Prophet Musa ﷺ and the pharaohs before. This was the background against which the story of the Prophet Musa ﷺ was narrated, so that a perfect analogy was established automatically in every detail between the conditions prevalent then in Makkah and those existing in the time of Prophet Musa. Then, from verse 43 onward, the discourse turns into the real theme. In the first place, the narration of a 2000-year-old historical event by the Holy Prophet ﷺ with such accuracy and detail is presented as a proof of the prophethood, although he was unlettered and the people of his city and clan knew fully well that he had no access to any source of such information as they could point out. Then the disbeliever of Makkah have been warned and put to shame for an event that occurred in those very days. Some Christians had come to Makkah and embraced Islam when they heard the Quran from the Holy Prophet ﷺ. Instead of learning any lesson from this, the Meccan were so upset at this that their leader, Abu Jahl, disgraced those people publicly. In conclusion, the excuse that the disbelievers put forward for not believing in the Holy Prophet ﷺ has been dealt with. What they feared was this: if we give up the polytheistic creed of the Arabs and accept the doctrine of Tawheed instead, This will put an end to our supremacy in the religious, political, and economic fields, which in turn will destroy our position of the most influential tribe of Arabia, and we shall be left with no refuge anywhere in the land. And this was the real motive of the chiefs of the Quraysh for their antagonism towards the truth, and their doubts and objections were only the pretenses which they invented to deceive the common people. Allah has dealt with these fully till the end of the surah, considered each aspect of these in a wise manner, and offered the remedy for their basic ailment, due to which those people judged the truth and falsehood only from the viewpoint of their worldly interest. Here we end our study of the surah. Alhamdulillah, we have completed 28 surahs study. May Allah bless us with the right understanding of these Quranic teachings, and to follow them in letter and spirit in our life. Ameen. Keep watching Jameel TV. If you like, please subscribe it as well.